Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am Michelle Mazelleغ and this is my opinion, y'all. Porsha Williams married Simon Guobadia over the weekend, and all I have to say is that Porsha understood the cultural assignment. She had a Nigerian ceremony and she also had an American ceremony. Now I'm only going to be focusing on the Nigerian ceremony as far as just how she did a great job with just incorporating his culture into the wedding. Now, they were featured on People magazine. As you can clearly see, she is absolutely beautiful. He is handsome as well. They are both wearing traditional wedding attire from Nigeria. She's wearing the traditional headpiece. They both have traditional jewelry on. And you can just tell that a lot of work and a lot of thought went into this to make sure that the Nigerian culture was captured. Now, when they interviewed her on People magazine, she talked about the importance of incorporating Simon's culture into her wedding. And what she said was, and I'm going to read it straight from People magazine, is that I want them to feel like they have taken a flight and landed in Benin. The whole room should be transformed with the beautiful colors of browns and rose golds and tans and creams. It should be really, really beautiful and give you that authentic African feel. So as she was planning the wedding, she knew that she wanted to make sure that the colors were there, the feel was there, the atmosphere was there, to let it be known to her guests and to his family the importance of his Nigerian culture. And so she decided, yes, I'm going to make sure that when they come to my wedding, even though we might not be in Nigeria, we're not in Nigeria, I want them to feel like that they are in Nigeria. And I want him to feel like that he is in Nigeria, as well as we are taking our vows, and from the people that love us, and for them to also see how important his culture was to her. And she also said that I looked up different things about an Edo bride, about the Benin culture, about their ceremonies, just so that I would not be totally green. So she did her homework, y'all. She didn't just like, a lot of times people just want to put on an African dress and they think that that is supposed to show appreciation for a culture, where if that's not the typical dress that someone would normally wear to a wedding in that particular country, then you're not showing any appreciation for that country at all. So she did her homework. And I think it's important that when you incorporate culture into the wedding, that you do your homework, you research, you talk to the women of that country to say, hey, what is the typical wedding attire? I want to make sure it's authentic as possible. What do I need to do to make sure that this all comes to life? And she actually went and she actually did her homework, and she was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to wear, and so I'm going to make sure it happens. He even said in the People magazine, also in the article, that he was very surprised that she kind of latched on to the culture like she did, and that she wanted to incorporate as much of the culture as possible, and that really meant a lot to him. And I think that's what women need to realize when you're marrying a man from an African country, that makes them feel good to know that you have gone out of your way to incorporate them into the wedding. A lot of times as women, we forget that the wedding is not just about us, it's also about him as well. And if you're marrying somebody from an African country, it's very important that you try to put in that culture as much as you can and get him involved as well, and let him know, hey, I really want this to be a union of two cultures. How can we make it happen so that everything will not just be about my culture and about me? It would also be including you and your family and your cultures and things that make you who you are. Now, as for me, as you all know, I am married to a man from Ghana, and I did exactly what Porsha did as far as making sure that I incorporated as much of his culture into the wedding as I possibly could. Now mind you, we got married in 2005, so there really was not a Pinterest or any type of inspiration that I could have drawn from. I really had to just kind of think about it myself and kind of say to myself, how am I going to incorporate as much of his culture into our wedding as I could? So I got a dress made. His sister-in-law made me a dress, and from this beautiful blue brocade type of African fabric that's pretty expensive in Ghana. And so I wore that to my reception. And his cake, as you can see, was inspired by the Ghana sashes. And I wanted to make sure that he saw, yes, I want to make sure that your colors are part of the cake. We actually had the ceremony before the ceremony where the families meet. So I actually let my family know beforehand, this is customary in Ghana for the families to meet, for their intentions to be shared, for gifts to be shared as well, and just for the families to meet, because it's very important in the Ghana culture that the families understand that we are going to be unifying as families. It's not just the bride and groom, it's the bride's family, it is the groom's family, and we are all coming together on this wedding day to be as one. And so I had to explain that to my parents, because that is not something that we do in American ceremonies. Other things that I incorporated is that my colors were gold and red. I really wanted to you know, show appreciation from the colors of Ghana. After the wedding, I really wish I would have gone black with the red. I think that would have been so pretty, but I went with gold and I went with red. So that was another way that I incorporated the Ghana culture into our wedding as well. And I actually had his family make some Ghanaian dishes. So they made red stew and rice, they made spinach stew and rice, plantains and beans, and our guests absolutely loved everything that they made. And at the reception, his family actually had a part in there where they did like a dance of some sort, which is also very customary in Ghana as well, for the bride and groom to go out and dance, and for the families to gather around as well. And that was probably one of my favorite parts of our wedding, is that whole experience, just to be with his family, and then everybody coming out and dancing to the music. Now mind you, it was a Ghana high life song. If y'all know anything about the old high life songs running from about 5 to 7 minutes, I think that song was probably a good 10 minutes. It was a long song, but I loved every minute of it, and we danced almost through the entire song. Apart from my dress at the wedding, my husband also had on traditional Ghana attire as well. And so yes, and he felt good, and his family felt good, and they felt appreciative as well to know that I did everything I could to make sure that the guests knew, and my family knew, and people that were coming to my wedding to know that yes, it's not just two people joining, these are two cultures joining. And I had to make sure that I acknowledge his culture. I had to make sure that I showcased his culture. I had to make sure that they saw them, and so they understood the love I have for him and for his country and for his family. So in turn, they could also form that love and that appreciation for him and his family and his culture as well. And I think that is exactly why Porsha did exactly what she did. I think she did a great job with just showing the beauty of his culture, and also showing the appreciation of his culture, and also showing why it's important to incorporate culture into the wedding as much as possible, because it really does let that man know how special you think of him, that you want to go out of your way to learn the culture, number one, and number two, to make sure that he is included, and also a very important day of his life as well. So kudos to Porsha for understanding that culture assignment and just giving a beautiful cultural wedding that she's going to remember, he's going to remember, his family's going to remember. Because I'm telling you, my family still remembers every cultural thing we did at my wedding. People are still talking about the cultural aspect of my wedding, because it was memorable, and that is exactly what I wanted it to be. All right, you all, I am Michele Mazelleغ. Thank you all for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.